Hello and welcome back. Today I've got a little more on my dungeon generator, and while it's actually generating a dungeon for us to see, I have to make a little apology for the fact that I haven't gotten this video out earlier because my brothers had a guest over and there was a lot of video games going on in the background and there was no real time I got quietness to record. Also, it's just been freezing cold and I haven't been feeling like recording. Also, I apologize for the frame rate. It's going to be pretty low during this video, considering Java takes up nearly Minecraft itself takes up nearly a gigabyte of RAM at most of the time, even when playing normally. And also, I've only got 2 gigabytes total. So yeah, that's a bit of an issue. Otherwise, yeah, it generates quite nicely, I'd say. The rooms generate with very little... Okay, can somebody explain this to me? I've seen this several times. There was a skull in a spawner and a, just a spinning spider just once, and that's okay. Let's move on! Yeah, they procedurally generate quite nicely. All nicely interconnected, some having dead ends and some not. The chests and the spawners and the things like cobwebs and jukeboxes and whatnot, those all also spawn from spawners as falling sand and such, so they can be nicely randomly located. Also, one of my favorite little things I managed to do was make this spiderweb a thing using the new invisible barrier blocks to sort of spawn a sort of barrier across the entire thing, then spawn those, then delete it. Also, this is a bug. This is something I hope they fix, along with there's a, this bug. If you notice, wrong button. If you notice up here, the all has too many entities in it when there's only, there's actually 0 entities visible, because I'm on peaceful right now, but there's these invisible fake entities. And it'll go up if I turn it off peaceful, because custom spawners just do that now. For some reason, I think it's actually a I think it's actually a data leak of some kind. What else is there to say? The only other bug is in snapshot 14W06. This dungeon just randomly crashes. Don't know why. I've been putting the reports published. If somebody could publish the report about the spawners, that would be nice, because my account for the bug tracker isn't working properly. So, yeah, this is what the dungeon will look like on all floors. You might be wondering why I haven't released it yet. That's because I want the dungeon to have about a total of 65 floors, with every 5 floors being new loot and new mobs to fight. So I have to finish all of the loot and all of the mob spawners. So that's going to take me a little while to finish. I also want there to be boss battles, which I'm going to show you a little bit of that in this video once I'm done just flying around my dungeon a bit. And I'll also show you the dungeon generating in just a moment, because yes, this wasn't pre-made, this is generated. The last thing, if I can find where it is the dungeon now generates exit doors. So instead, like last time, you might notice I could just exit at any point in the dungeon. Now, and of course it's probably going to bug out and not give me an exit, because I'm recording and it does it on occasions. But now, if you run around enough, you'll eventually find only one door to get out of the dungeon. And it does take a little bit of work to find sometimes. Sometimes it's very straightforward. Most of the times it generates only in one part, like in one corner of the dungeon, and I really cannot find it. Just start lighting things up. You guys are probably like, it's too dark, because it actually is. Valid claims. Where is it? I might just cut till I find the exit so I can show you. Aha! So it took a bit of adventuring around, flying about. It's in just a little bit of a corner back here. Just sort of flew around a corner, and here it is. Like I said, there's only one exit per floor now, and it might take you a bit of adventuring to find it. One more thing, if I can find a decent door to look at it through. The one last thing I want to actually show you inside the dungeon, or a pre-made, or not pre-made, but a pre-generated one I just did just now. I can find it. Come on. Sorry, what I'm trying to find is, you probably saw one earlier, there's these iron doors about all about the dungeon. And if you go into one, I'll be giving you an item that can actually open these doors, but for now I'm just going to break it down. You can actually sometimes find hidden little areas. Sometimes they just have junk like that. But if I can find another one, they can actually take you to entirely large sections of the dungeon. So I'll cut when I find a decent one of those. Well, I found another one. Is it going to be... Nah. Well, there's one near the entrance, too. And the one near the entrance is the most fruitful, it looks like. So I'm practically... Oh, come on. Okay, this dungeon just doesn't seem to be giving me a good set of iron door hallways. But I'll just leave that for another time. I think I showed it off on a previous video. But unless this is the last one... Yeah, aha! This one's a lot better. So as you can tell, there's just these extra little rooms. There might be loot. You'll be getting these keys and chests, and you will be able to open these up and see what fruit may bear the insides. Again, it's a sort of almost lottery system of finding stuff. Like, you know, there's a chest here. And of course in this corner there's nothing, and there wasn't much in here, just a spawner and a chest. But it adds a little more to do in the dungeon. So that's a thing. That's a very thing. And it makes me the happy. Oh. So yeah, I'll just cut to the So, coming back to here, I'm going to delete the roof with a few command blocks and show you guys the dungeon generating once over. This might take a while because there's a lot of blocks to delete. So, give me a second. So, now that that's done deleting, you can finally see the dungeon without the roof one. This is everything I just flew through, and I think I actually showed off all of the areas in the halls. As you can tell, it's all connected nicely. These ones, however, are not, and there's actually two reasons that could be. That could either be from a certain small room overwriting bug, or it could be those are from a previous dungeon. More likely it's from a previous dungeon. And here I'm going to make the magic happen and completely clear the dungeon. For some reason, deleting everything takes less time than deleting the roof. No idea why. Nearly as many blocks. Maybe it's because it's deleting smaller sections. I don't know. Either way, there you go. It's nice and empty once it renders. And now it's ready to regenerate a new room. And of course, when I went to generate a new dungeon, the fact that I had been playing in Snapshot 14.006 actually crashed the dungeon a few times with a weird bug, caused me to have to go and fix some redstone because it didn't get to save properly. Either way, I'm just trying to get everything to render again as I teleported over from the redstone, which I will show you in a moment. And then I'm going to generate a dungeon. Oh, of course, every time I'd go to record a video, there'd be the millions of complications that come with it. Also, apparently, anvils. So yeah, one thing I will mention is part of the dungeon does require that roof to generate properly, and that would be the loot and stuff, as the roof sort of sits in the way of things and stuff. And, yeah, there it goes. Apparently I have to be close enough for it to render so you guys can see, but oh well. It still works. So, yeah. This all works really nicely, very fast. Even with my computer being really bad right now. It does look like it's not generating properly, but it actually is. It's just, you know, my game's not running very well. And, yeah. There we go. Now it's done rendering. Also, you can see this whole corner of the dungeon wasn't used for the generation. So this loot just sort of sits around without walls to prevent it from spawning. There's actually a lot of loot. Also, without roofs, there's more loot than normal too. So yeah, there you go. Got to sort of watch it generate. I apologize for the lag again. And what am I gonna finish it up with? Oh yeah. I decided just now that I'm going to show off the boss, some of the boss stuff when I've actually properly, got it set up to do a video for. But if I can open this chest, you know, I'm just going to show you a few of the things I've planned really quick. And yeah. And. I can't speak today at all because it's cold outside. So let me spawn a zombie over here just so I can... It's in peaceful mode. That's another thing. Spawn you, put a name tag on. So here's one of the things I've been working on. Boss AI. So eventually, when this is all said and done, I'm going to have the boss do various attacks, various things like teleporting around the boss arena. And here, let me just sort of show him off teleporting into the abyss. Don't do that. Come back here. So yeah, as you can tell, it sort of functions. There's... Zombie, why would you go out of view? As expected, it doesn't really work when you're high over the abyss of the universe. But otherwise, you could see it working, right? Please say yes. And what's this? Oh yes, this is another attack. This one will spawn a... Oh, I can't actually record that properly, can I? This one, when you can actually see what's going on, as you can tell, as my frame rate's going wonk. I don't know why. Okay, so apparently my computer isn't good enough to record particles or something. I'm just getting a lot of lag right now. You can sort of see the arrows flying about. It'll be better when this actually works. And when, you know, when you get to play it and I'm not recording. Again, my computer's absolutely terrible. Another attack is, summon some minions. I think it's actually the particles that are making my game run horribly. So yeah, I can have them summon minions. You again. And the last one I'll show off. This one's going to be exceedingly hard to show off, considering it's a more intensive one. Is this sort of laser explosion of death that doesn't like when there's a pit underneath the world. So yeah, I wish I could show it off better, but right now I need a much more contained environment. And probably would have to turn off particles. Yeah. That's... I'll try to... Meh. Yeah, I'll give a better video of that later. For now, let me just show you guys the redstone properly. Unlike the last video I had, I just showed it off and it lagged to death. give everything a moment here, and I can actually show you practically everything that works the dungeon. Come on. There we go. All of you rendered? Yeah, all of you rendered. Everything below needs to render, though. So this is actually all of the redstone that controls things like the doors spawning only one, or which level of loot it is. As you can tell, I've only got one built. This is your game mode. This, I don't remember what that is, actually. This decides when it's ready, when the dungeon's ready to spawn you in and whatnot. And down here, another thing that has to render, is the thing that makes the dungeon. Yes, glowstone and quartz blocks and nothing else. Nah, I'm joking. Yes. This is, the red... No, come on. Okay, give me a second. I'm gonna pause the game, and it's going to render faster for me, because for some reason that's just how this game works. Much better. So yeah. I'll go more in depth in this in a little while, but this is all of the redstone that actually makes a set of rooms, which is actually not very much. There's maybe 50 command blocks at most, a few redstone torches, well, maybe more than 50 command blocks. Either way, there's not too terribly much that goes into this. Most of it's just, you know, redstone wire I put there for my convenience. Doesn't affect much of the dungeon itself. And actually, there's more glowstone than anything in this. This is the machine that actually randomizes everything. What it simply does, oops, that's not the one I actually want to show off, is it simply spawns there's a giant command here, it spawns a spawner right up in here, and the spawner here will, oh, there we go. The spawner there will then place some torches in this area, and the first torch that goes is the one that decides which room goes, if that makes any sense to you. It's not actually that technical, it's kind of simple in the concept of something of any map maker could properly do. It's only like maybe a dozen command blocks at most for this randomizer to work, and what's really nice about it is just because of the way Minecraft works, there's a slight bias to the fact that this corner of the randomizer is more likely to spawn a torch than this corner, because just whatever rule decides the center of the spawner. So any room on this part of everything will actually more likely spawn. So that can give me more things like the center rooms or the pillar rooms or certain corners. If I want them to generate more likely from a certain direction, they will. I can, however, change it to be completely unbiased, as all the way back to where that zombie boss was. I actually had an unbiased version of it over here. This one actually, instead of spawning just the torches, it actually spawns the torches in specific locations with spawn data. So it's a 1 in 8 chance, unbiasedly, to do one of these torches, if that makes sense to you. Either way, that's about it for this video. I've gone on rambling about various things of this dungeon for quite long enough, and you guys have probably gotten very tired of it. So I will see you guys later.